Okay, so I'm choosing to see the snow as a very auspicious start to the retreat. And we've had a lot of preparation so far, the beautiful teachings that Venerable Chini's been giving on the refuge in Nundro, and also the talk that Venerable Tarpa gave the other day on the mind of Varsa. That was very helpful. So let those things complement what I've been asked to talk about today, which is the mind of retreat. So we will be entering our first month of winter retreat later this afternoon, setting the seats and so forth, and gradually entering into silence as we go through the next few days. And so I'd like to follow up on how Venerable Simke started this morning with a little bit of rejoicing. It takes a lot of merit to be able to do a month of retreat in such conducive conditions. And so we say that, but let's not let that become stale in our mind. Let's keep that really fresh, as Gala Rinpoche was suggesting to the Sangha. He was talking about how Geshe Topke often says that by really looking at the preciousness of our situations and the opportunity to do retreat in particular, if we keep that really fresh in our mind, then that helps us to develop a very stable mind, so that even if some difficulties do come up during our retreat, that appreciation for our conditions will help us to overcome those difficulties. So as you can see, there are very few people who've joined us for this retreat. In reality, there are 4 long-term guests who have been here anyway, or who were coming anyway, and there are, 3 people here specifically for the 1-month retreat. So just appreciating how difficult it is to get all the causes and conditions together to come for a retreat like this is quite amazing. We can appreciate how difficult it is to take a month off of work. Most people work. And also just setting down our responsibilities with our families and friends and other things that keep us preoccupied in samsara. And also, I think it takes a lot of merit to prioritize retreat. There are a lot of obstacles to prioritizing this as something so valuable to do, because samsaric priorities are so compelling. And often seem so immediate and so important to us. So as we go through the retreat, it will be important for us all, each one of us, to continue reflecting on the preciousness of this time we have together. And also thinking about all the conditions that have come together in terms of the Abbey that's been here for 20 years. We have qualified teachers who have prepared us very well for these retreats. And the fact that it's running in the absence of venerable children is also a testament to the seniors and everyone in the community, really. So let's keep looking at that and using that to shore up our mind and give us the enthusiasm that we need to complete this retreat. Have a really strong intention. I'm going to complete this retreat successfully. Of course, just as we begin each day with our 3 motivations, it's equally important to begin retreat by setting a very strong motivation, an initial motivation, but of course we will also set each session, a motivation for each session, and daily motivations as we do normally. But especially for those of you who are coming from the outside, I hope you have had time to really reflect on what is bringing me here? What do I hope to find in this retreat? Not to create unrealistic expectations, as Venerable Simke was reminding us this morning, but to be very clear about, why am I here? What is that I want to accomplish? And that helps us to really make good use of every moment that we have here, so that we're not wasting time, but really utilizing the preciousness that we find ourselves in. So I was reflecting that if Venerable Chodron was here, she would be reminding us that we're going on holiday with Shakyamuni Buddha, our best friend. She says this before every retreat, whatever deity, whatever practice, we're going on holiday. And that can be a helpful image, because we all like to go on holiday. It kind of brightens our mind and gets us ready for what's coming next. And Shakyamuni Buddha is our best friend. So doing this refuge, focusing on refuge and thinking about the Buddha's qualities, so important in every aspect of our practice. Just thinking about the love, the Buddha's love and compassion for us, and how he knows our predicament. He sees our predicament with his omniscience. And with his wisdom, he also sees our Buddha nature and our potential So when we're in each session, we can really count on that we are in the presence of our best friend, truly our best friend, someone who wants the best for us more than anyone in this world. We may think that retreat is a time to get away from the pressures and the responsibilities of our life, and that's true, that will happen. But the real meaning of retreat is retreating from our afflictions. Of course, we're here to meditate on refuge and to count some mantras and also look at the Four Noble Truths. But things are going to come up. And especially as we begin to sit still, quiet our minds, we're all ready, we're ready to go. What's going to happen? Well, our mind is quiet. Now things are going to begin to surface. So anger, attachment, ignorance, our other best friends, right? Jealousy, 8 worldly concerns, those sorts of things, those are going to come up in our mind. We can just count on that. So let's be prepared. Let's be ready to antidote them. As we know, the heart of the Buddha's teachings is our own mind, that our mind is the creator of our happiness and suffering, and the creator of our suffering is the afflictions. So we potentially have 4 weeks, 4 precious weeks of Dharma practice, of cultivating virtue and antidoting non-virtue and deepening our refuge. I say potentially because we never know what's going to happen, do we? And that's really come to the fore in the last 4 or 5 months. Probably there's not going to be a fire with the snow, but there could be other things that come up. Epidemics can sneak in. You just never know what's going to happen. And there could be, yes, any number of things could happen that might interrupt our retreat. So again, very strong intentions about what we're doing here, and a real strong intention to complete the retreat will be very helpful. Now we're here on holiday with our best friend Shakyamuni Buddha, and we have found just the right cushion. We've tried them all. We've found just the right cushion so that we're really comfortable and we're ready to meditate. And so, we're finally sitting still long enough to notice what's going on in the mind. We might be shocked. We might be surprised, even if we've done many retreats before. Retreat is such a precious time for letting things bubble up. Things will bubble up. It's amazing how memories come to the surface during retreats. They could be very powerful memories of something that's happened in the past. Could be just a little snippet of turning around a corner in a particular city. It's quite amazing when the mind gets still and quiet. Things can come up. And that's perfectly okay if afflictions come up. Actually, we can only do something about them if we can see them. So that's one of the purposes of retreat, is to sit still long enough, create the conducive conditions for meditation to happen. I heard that description one time, that we don't actually meditate, but we create conducive conditions for meditation to happen. And it seems to be the case. Yet we can try to put our mind on a particular object or topic or familiarize it with something, but we never quite know if the mind's going to cooperate. So we create the conducive conditions, and we do our best, and that's good enough. So this kind of retreat environment is so helpful because there's enough quiet time to be able to observe our mind, to really observe, what are the habitual thoughts? What are the habitual criticism, projections, anticipations, expectations, all those things that are running in the background of our mind anyway, and to put into practice what we've been studying. So in the last couple of years, we've been focusing on Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. We have 8 chapters that we can come back to and use all that mind training and whatever's coming up for us. We've also spent 2 years looking at the first 12 chapters of Samsara, Nirvana, Buddha Nature. So hopefully we feel well prepared to look at the first 2 Noble Truths. So I offer that as a resource for those of you who are just joining us for this retreat. We also have enough activity and interaction with others so that we can also see our mind when we're sharing space together, sitting in the meditation hall, when we're doing dishes together, shoveling snow together, whatever we're doing. We have enough interaction with each other. We're going to bump up against each other, and that will show us those buttons that we still need to work on, the afflictions that still need our attention. So I think it's good to keep in mind that retreat is not just what we do on our cushion during the meditation session, But our retreat also includes every aspect of living together. We're creating a community right now, a community that hopefully will all be together for the next month. And so we're living together, every part of our living together, and how we consider each other, how we're respectful of each other, how we take into consideration what others might need. All of that is also part of our retreat, whether we do our chores or not. People will notice. Whether we come to sessions on time, people will notice. So we can also try to think of all the in-between aspects of our retreat as a very important component of what we're doing here together. It's all connected. What we do on our cushion will influence what we're doing in between sessions, and what we're doing in between sessions also will influence what we can do on our cushion. And because we're limiting our external activities in retreat, then it's funny how the mind can start making a very big deal about very little things. And I was remembering Venerable Chuni's BBC on No Big Deal. Do you remember that? In April of 2022, she did this, and she was showing how there was Venerable Sloppy and Venerable Precise. And Venerable Precise said to Venerable Sloppy, "Venerable, you are so sloppy." and then Venerable Sloppy, you can see that before that, she was very aware of the impermanent nature of her body and the impermanent nature of the environment, the impermanent nature of Venerable Precise. And then all of a sudden, things solidified and got very real and very concrete. It's a wonderful BBC. If maybe we can show it during lunch one day, because it's exactly what happens in retreat. Now the mind is more quiet, and all of a sudden, someone's sniffling. The first time you hear it, you don't pay too much attention. And then they sniffle again, and you're like, get a Kleenex. And then it becomes a really big deal, right? Like, this person is ruining my concentration, my samadhi. So little things like that will happen. They can happen, they will happen. So when they do, notice it's not about the other person. It's really not. This is a wonderful opportunity. You should thank this person because they're giving you the opportunity to see your mind, first of all, and then to work with it, to apply some antidotes. So I'm talking to myself here because one of the things that really bugs me about retreat is that all the dingwas start moving. It's like, you know, when you press the I don't know what it's called, but the button on your iPhone and all the little apps start jiggling like this. That's what happens during retreat. All the dingwas start going like this, and then they start moving to the front. I don't know why that bothers me. Spatially, I have some issue about that. It will happen, and I've had so much good opportunity to work with that. I won't ask you to put blue tape in front of your dingwa this time so that you stay in your place. It's a good example, isn't it? I mean, and we all have our own example of the big deal that has, you know, distracted us from doing retreat. Actually, that has been a very important part of my retreat experience here at the Abbey. So, and I can see the progress. So that's good, you know? It's like a milestone. Each year I get to check, okay, how attached am I to people sitting in their same seat? Yeah, so whenever we see our mind starting to go on and on about someone else, and this is going to happen to each one of us at one point or another, then this is the moment to recognize this has nothing to do with the other person. This is about my mind, about my judgments, my criticism, my buttons, my rules of the universe, as Venerable has identified so clearly over the years. Because if we're honest, we will notice that there are days when a person can sniffle, or, you know, the dingwas are moving and it bothers us. And then there's another day where the same things are happening and it doesn't bother us. So that shows us where the root of that problem lies. It's in our own mind, working with our own crazy mind. So this gives us an opportunity to understand at a deeper experiential level how our mind works, and how recognizing that Dharma practice is about changing our own mind. It's not about changing the schedule. It's not about changing the seating arrangement. It's not about changing what people are cooking for lunch or breakfast. It's really not about any of that. So when you notice your mind going off in those tangents, and you will, write them down, because they'll be funny later on. They won't be funny in the moment, but they will be funny later on. And also, when we, at some point, everyone is going to have an afflicted mind. At some point, everyone is going to get involved in creative writing, making this big story in your mind about something that's going on. At every point, someone is going to have experience an aching body, the back, the headache, whatever it might be. Even the people sitting in the chairs, they also struggle with sitting, just as the people on the cushions do. Um, Everyone has a gross body we're bringing into this retreat, so we will all be struggling with some of the same issues. Actually, probably all of the same issues, we could say. And you know what? That can really bring a lot of compassion to our minds, to have compassion for each other. The more we understand and recognize our own struggles, how difficult it is to overcome our own afflictions, the more compassion we will have for each other. Um, yeah, so that's something that we can really use our struggles to develop more compassion, more understanding for each other. It can really soften our hearts and bring out our compassion. Okay, so I was remembering from something that Venerable Namang shared with me, a daily motivation that I found really inspiring, so I'd like to share it with you. He said, remember, this is not a competition, rather a collaboration. So we could say this about retreat. This retreat is not a competition, who can be Buddha by next Tuesday. It's not a competition, rather a collaboration. The goal is the same for everyone, and everyone can achieve it. We practice not to compete, not to be best, not to be special, and not to look good. Comparing ourselves to others is completely useless. Regardless of our internal and external attributes, the state of mind is the most important. It is the mind that is transformed into the state of a Buddha. In order to dispel any sense of obligation, even though we voluntarily come to this retreat, today we are choosing to live, practice, and offer service at Sravasti Abbey. That's a really good retreat mind. This is not our house where we have everything to be comfortable. You can count on that. You'll be looking for a chair with a back soon. This is not a bar to check people out and judge or use them. It's not an office to get things done. It's not a school in which the students all compete. We're not trying to make special friendships or impress others. This is a monastery which functions to train the mind in good qualities and weaken negative states of mind. I thought that was quite beautiful and a good reminder. So during the retreat, we're all trying to stay balanced in whatever ways we can. We don't want to be too tight, for example, thinking we're going to finish all of our recitations in a week so that we can get on to whatever it is we want to really meditate on. We're also trying not to be too loose and coming late to sessions or skipping sessions. That would really impact other retreatants in a not favorable way. So we're trying to find where is the balance for me, because the balance for one person is going to be different than the balance for another person. So we're trying to be a balanced human being, and that's difficult. It's completely new territory for some of us. But the Buddha is balanced, so we can really reflect on the Buddha's qualities and imagine what would it be? What would it be like to be a completely balanced living being like the Buddha? What does it feel like to be balanced? And how do I know I'm unbalanced right now? What is unbalanced and what's happening in my mind? Am I getting too little sleep? Am I getting too much sleep? Am I eating too much? Am I not eating enough? I heard someone say they were going to completely go without desserts during retreat. Maybe that's a little too austere. Retreat is difficult. We should reward ourselves with a sweet every once in a while. So we need a relaxed mind that's also focused. A relaxed mind is a mind it doesn't mean a distracted mind, but it means a relaxed mind, a spacious mind. And we also want to be focused, but focus doesn't mean tight. We can be relaxed and focused at the same time. In fact, relaxation is a very important component of meditation. Okay, so, and whatever we're doing, whether it's sitting on our cushion or we're doing chores, we're out there shoveling snow, whatever we're doing, we can do it in a relaxed way with a relaxed mind. And I just want to put in a special note to the community. We still have access to internet as we're going into retreat. So I would encourage each one of us to be really clear about what is so necessary that we need to check, and then be really clear about a commitment, make a commitment to yourself about how much you're going to check to keep up with your work responsibilities only. And also, I'm looking forward to taking a news fast. It's been a busy year, lots of news in the world, lots of bad news. So let's all, really try to take a news fast as we go into this retreat. So I imagine you've already covered coming to sessions on time. Come a little bit early, in fact, because again, then we're settled. We will start on time, so everybody's settled. And please try to come to every session. We'll all probably have our own definition of what it means to be sick. For some people, it's just feeling a little bit tired. Oh, I'm sick. I got to skip this session. For other people, they're throwing up and they're still making themselves come to sessions. So, really take a look at that, so that we're not just skipping a session the first moment we feel too tired to show up. All of us will be feeling tired. All of us will have achy bones, achy muscles as we go through this. So again, we're trying to find balance. And also, it's good to, part of being balanced is to do some exercise. So whatever that might be for you, taking walks, doing some yoga, some Tai Chi, stretching, whatever that might be, shoveling snow, whatever that might be. It's really helpful also to, on the allowable paths, to get up to a little bit higher so you can have a nice view. An expansive view is really good for the mind, especially during retreat where a lot of our attention is focused inwards. So these are just some of the things that came to my mind about what I've heard over the years, the advice that Venerable and other teachers have given about doing retreat. And let's just come back to rejoicing that we have this amazing opportunity in front of us, and to support each other, to support our own mind, our own Dharma practice, and doing this for the benefit of all sentient beings.